The One Nation, One Election concept advocates for synchronized elections for the Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies in India. This reform aims to address issues stemming from frequent elections, such as administrative burden, financial costs, and policy stagnation. The introduction of the One Nation, One Election bill marks a significant legislative step towards realizing this goal. Elections in British India were sporadic, focusing on limited constituencies. After independence, India initially adopted synchronized elections for the Lok Sabha and state assemblies. However, due to premature dissolutions of certain state assemblies and the Lok Sabha, this alignment was disrupted. Over the years, staggered elections became the norm, with elections occurring almost every year across various states, leading to an ongoing election cycle. The initiative aims to minimize the financial burden on the exchequer by conducting elections simultaneously, allowing governments to focus on policymaking and long-term development without the constant distraction of election campaigns. It seeks to simplify the voting process to encourage greater participation and facilitate smoother execution of national and state policies. The proposed synchronization framework includes simultaneous elections for the Lok Sabha and all state legislative assemblies, with phased implementation that includes provisions for transitional arrangements to align election schedules. Legal amendments suggest changes to the Representation of the People Act 1951 and relevant constitutional articles. Enhanced electoral infrastructure, including electronic voting machines and voter-verifiable paper audit trail systems, is also proposed. This approach aims to reduce financial expenditure on elections, including deployment of security personnel, polling booths, and logistics, while allowing governments to work without frequent interruptions due to the Model Code of Conduct. It streamlines election management for the Election Commission of India and avoids divisive, short-term campaign rhetoric that hampers long-term governance. However, there are implementation challenges, such as aligning terms of existing assemblies and addressing midterm dissolutions. Significant changes to constitutional provisions and laws are required, demanding extensive resources and manpower to conduct elections on such a large scale. Critics argue that simultaneous elections could centralize power, diminishing state autonomy, and the tendency to conflate national and state issues could affect electoral outcomes and diminish focus on local issues. In the United States, presidential and congressional elections are held simultaneously every 4 years, but state elections occur independently. South Africa conducts national and provincial elections together every 5 years, while Sweden synchronizes elections for the national parliament and regional councils every 4 years. Unlike many nations, India's federal structure and diverse socio-political landscape make synchronization more complex. Several state governments, particularly those aligned with the ruling party at the center, have expressed support for the initiative, citing benefits like cost reduction and streamlined governance. However, some state governments and regional parties have raised concerns about the potential dilution of federalism and local governance autonomy, arguing that local issues may get overshadowed by national narratives during synchronized elections. While there is general agreement on the need for electoral reforms, achieving bipartisan support remains a challenge due to ideological and practical differences. The exact timeline for implementing One Nation, One Election is uncertain, but the government aims to initiate pilot projects or transitional arrangements in the next few years. Legal and logistical challenges, coupled with the need for constitutional amendments, suggest that full implementation could take several election cycles, with a tentative target set around 2029 or later, depending on consensus building and preparatory measures. A phased approach could mitigate disruption with pilot projects in select states. Addressing legal and logistical challenges will be essential to ensure smooth implementation, alongside campaigns to educate citizens about the benefits and implications of the reform. Investing in advanced electoral technologies will enhance efficiency, and building consensus among political parties will ensure widespread acceptance. The One Nation, One Election initiative offers the potential for transformative reform in India's electoral process. But its successful implementation hinges on addressing constitutional, logistical, and federal challenges. A careful and inclusive approach, combining technological innovation and stakeholder consensus, will be essential to realize the vision of synchronized elections in India.